There's a moment you've lived before, or at least, that's exactly how it feels. You're standing somewhere ordinary, maybe in a hallway, a cafe, a friend's living room. Someone says a sentence you swear you've heard before. A cup hits the table with the exact same sound you remember. And suddenly your whole body freezes for half a second. You know this moment. Not in a general, this seems familiar way, but in a sharp, eerie, almost cinematic flash, like you've stepped into a memory that never officially existed. Your brain whispers, "You've been here. You've seen this. You've lived this exact second." And here's the part nobody talks about. It doesn't just feel familiar. It feels aligned. Like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like something deep inside you recognized this moment before you consciously did. You know what's wild? That tiny jolt of familiarity isn't random at all. It's a clue. A signal. A moment where your mind is revealing something you normally miss. So what's really happening here? Déjà vu might feel rare, but it's actually one of the most widespread human experiences we almost never talk about. Around 60 to 80% of people report having it, and most describe it the same way. Sudden, brief, strangely vivid, and gone before you can fully process it. It sneaks up on you in everyday spaces, walking into a new apartment, hearing a random sentence, even watching someone make a simple gesture. And in that instant, everything feels duplicated, like life hit, repeat, on a moment you're certain you've never lived. What makes déjà vu so intriguing isn't just the familiarity, it's the accuracy of it. You don't feel like you've lived something similar. You feel like you've lived this exact configuration of sound, light, emotion, and timing. And for a few seconds, the world feels layered, like your present is overlapping with something unexplainably old. Here's the part we rarely examine. Why does déjà vu feel both deeply personal and eerily universal? Why does it hit at the most random times? Why does it feel meaningful, even though we can't logically explain it? And why does it always disappear the moment you try to analyze it? Most people brush it off as a weird brain glitch. But if that were true, why does it happen more during emotional transitions, travel, periods of growth, or moments when you're more introspective? And why do some people experience déjà vu more frequently when they're making big life decisions or stepping into new chapters? Look, the problem isn't the experience. The problem is our explanation of it. We've been trying to understand déjà vu from the surface, when the answer actually lies deeper, in the hidden layers of awareness your conscious mind almost never sees. Because déjà vu isn't just a moment you remember. It's a moment your mind recognized before you consciously arrived. Here's where things start to make sense. Because as strange as déjà vu feels, the psychology behind it is surprisingly elegant once you break it down. Let's start with something simple. Your brain is always working ahead of you. Even when you think you're fully present, your mind is constantly scanning your environment, comparing what you're seeing to millions of stored patterns, sounds, gestures, lighting, smells, emotional tones, micro-expressions. Most of this processing never reaches your conscious awareness. It stays locked in the subconscious, running like background software predicting what might happen next. And here's the thing, the subconscious is fast. Way faster than your conscious mind. So imagine this, you walk into a room. Before you consciously register anything, before you notice the color of the walls, the conversation happening in the corner, or the music playing, your subconscious has already scanned it, matched it to past experiences, and made thousands of predictions about what's coming next. This is where the first major theory comes in, neural prediction and the brain's preview system. Your mind is a prediction machine. It's always forecasting the next second of your life based on past patterns. Most of the time, these predictions happen so smoothly that you don't even notice them. But when the prediction is unusually accurate, when your subconscious gets a perfect match between the present moment and an internal pattern, you feel it as déjà vu. It's not that the moment happened before. It's that your mind recognized it before you consciously did. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Psychologists talk about something called the dual processing glitch. Think of your brain like a camera taking two snapshots of the same scene, but one of them saves just a millisecond earlier. If the timing between those two saves gets crossed, your conscious mind receives the second snapshot and interprets it as a memory, because a part of your brain already processed it. In other words, the brain doesn't repeat the moment. It repeats the processing of the moment. That's why déjà vu is so fast, so precise, and so emotionally loaded. Your familiar feeling isn't coming from the event, it's coming from the way your mind handled the event. Another key player is the reticular activating system, your brain's filter for what's important. The RAS decides what sensory information you notice and what gets ignored. It highlights patterns based on what emotionally matters to you: goals, fears, desires, unresolved issues, deep memories, things you're subconsciously working through. So when déjà vu hits, it often means your RAS flagged something incredibly specific: an environmental pattern, a tone of voice, a relational dynamic, even the emotional temperature of the moment, and matched it to something stored deep in your memory. This is why déjà vu often appears during a major life transitions, emotional growth, stress, a new environments, a relationship shifts, identity changes. Your inner world becomes more active, and your pattern recognition system becomes sharper. Déjà vu is your brain saying, "This moment holds meaning." Now let's layer in something deeper: memory fragmentation. Your memories aren't stored like files on a computer. They're stored in fragments, visual bits, emotional tones, smells, spatial layouts. When you encounter a moment that resembles a collection of these fragments from different memories, your brain tries to stitch them together. When it fails to place the memory but still feels familiarity, you get that eerie déjà vu sensation. It's like hearing a melody you know but can't name. This explains why so many déjà vu moments feel emotionally loaded even if nothing dramatic is happening. You're not remembering the event, you're remembering the emotional pattern the event resembles. So psychologically, déjà vu is a perfect storm of a subconscious pattern matching, hyperaccurate prediction, a misfiled familiarity, emotional resonance, a timing errors between brain systems. And yet, that still doesn't fully explain the mystical feeling behind it. Why does déjà vu feel spiritual? Why does it feel like alignment, intuition, synchronicity? That's where neuroscience and consciousness research overlap. When your subconscious and conscious minds sync up, when both layers of awareness momentarily process the world with perfect clarity, you experience a rare state of heightened perception. The moment feels sharper, more meaningful, more alive. People often call this intuition, alignment, energy, or synchronicity. Psychologists call it integrated awareness, a moment where your mind is unusually awake. So the science doesn't dismiss the spiritual feeling. It explains why the moment feels spiritual. Déjà vu is your mind briefly functioning at a higher level of awareness than usual. It's not magic. It's how your consciousness works when both layers of your mind snap into the same frame. Okay, so now that we've laid the scientific foundation, let's go deeper, because déjà vu isn't just an interesting brain quirk. It's a window into how consciousness actually operates beneath the surface. And when you understand what's happening in these moments, it changes the way you interpret your experiences, your relationships, and even your intuition. Let's start with the timing issue between the conscious and subconscious mind. Most people imagine consciousness as a single spotlight that shines on whatever you're paying attention to. But that's not accurate. A better analogy is two layers of awareness operating at different speeds. The subconscious is scanning, predicting, and processing constantly, while the conscious mind catches up in delayed bursts of awareness, like frames in a movie. Déjà vu happens when those layers suddenly line up perfectly. For a tiny moment, you feel like you're living life in high resolution, because your conscious mind is briefly accessing what the subconscious already recognized. It's like you step into a scene your deeper mind had already constructed internally. That overlap is what creates the mystical feeling. It's not that your soul traveled through time or that you visited this moment in a dream, although it can feel like that. It's that your inner world and outer world matched so precisely that the experience feels like a repeat. Now here's where it gets interesting. Your subconscious stores emotional patterns, not just memories. That means your mind doesn't just remember events, it remembers the emotional shape of moments. The tension, the warmth, the anticipation, the fear, the curiosity. When you encounter a new moment with the same emotional blueprint as something from your past, your subconscious activates instantly. You feel it as familiarity. Your brain interprets it as repetition. Your body reacts before you can logically understand why. This is why déjà vu isn't only a memory phenomenon, it's an emotional and energetic recognition, too. Let's break this down with some real-life scenarios. Example 1. Déjà vu during big life changes. Imagine you've just started a new job. New environment, new faces, new routines. You're walking through the hallway on your third day, and suddenly, it hits. The fluorescent lights, the sound of someone typing in the next room, the scent of coffee. Everything feels like a carbon copy of a moment you swear existed before. But here's what's actually happening. Your subconscious has been in overdrive. New environments activate your pattern detection systems at a much higher level. You're scanning every detail to figure out what's safe, what's familiar, what matters. And in that heightened state, the subconscious gathers so much information so quickly that the conscious mind lags behind. When it syncs up, you get déjà vu. It's like your inner world finally says, "Hey, I've already mapped this. Catch up." This is why déjà vu spikes during transitions. New schools, new jobs, new relationships, moving to a new city. You're not reliving a moment. You're witnessing your own awareness catching up to your internal processing. Example 2. Déjà vu in relationships. Here's a powerful one. You meet someone new. You shake hands, exchange a few words, and suddenly you get hit with this wave of familiarity, like you've known this person for years. It feels almost uncanny. What's happening isn't cosmic destiny or soul recognition, but it feels like that for a reason. Your mind recognizes patterns in people incredibly fast. A tone of voice, a facial expressions, a micro gestures, emotional energy, communication rhythm. If someone's presence matches emotional patterns from your past, someone you trusted, someone who impacted you deeply, or someone who shaped you in some way, your subconscious will fire that recognition instantly. But because you can't place the source of the familiarity, the conscious mind interprets it as something mystical. I've met you before. This is emotional déjà vu. It often happens with people who will become important in your life, friends, mentors, partners, because your subconscious picks up relational compatibility before you consciously understand it. Think of it as your inner radar turning on. Your mind senses resonance. Your body responds with familiarity. Example 3. Déjà vu when traveling. You're walking down a street in a city you've never visited, and suddenly, boom, déjà vu. Maybe it's the angle of the buildings, the way sunlight hits the pavement, or the sequence of sounds in the distance. Travel triggers déjà vu more often because your senses are heightened. Everything is new, so your brain is scanning more intensely. The subconscious is on full alert, absorbing details and creating internal predictions at high speed. The moment those predictions line up with the reality in front of you, even partially, you get that flash of familiarity. It's not that you've been there. It's that your brain predicted the moment so accurately that it feels like memory. Travel puts your awareness in a highly adaptive state, making déjà vu more common and more vivid. Example 4. Déjà vu during emotional turning points. Think about moments when you're deep in thought, rethinking your life, making a big decision, processing something heavy. During these periods, your inner world becomes louder than usual. So when you step into a moment that resonates with what your mind has been internally rehearsing, déjà vu appears. For example, you've been thinking about ending a relationship, and one day you're sitting across from the person, and a feeling washes over you, this moment has happened before. Or you're about to take a risk, and your body feels strangely aligned with what's happening, almost like a confirmation. In these situations, déjà vu is the subconscious mind signaling recognition of emotional patterns you've been reviewing internally. It's like the moment outside of you matches the moment inside you. This is the deeper layer, resonance, a psychological explanation for what many people describe as alignment or intuition. Conscious versus subconscious layers. To really understand déjà vu, you have to see how differently these layers operate. The subconscious layer: fast, continuous, emotional, predictive, pattern-based, always scanning. It processes life like a massive data system, taking in details you don't even know you noticed. The conscious layer: slow, selective, illogical, limited, focused on one thing at a time. It only receives the final version of what the subconscious filtered. Déjà vu is the rare moment where both layers sync, where the subconscious says, "I've already processed this," and the conscious mind momentarily sees through that lens. This sync creates the illusion of repetition, the sensation of alignment, the feeling of, "I've lived this before." It's not time repeating. It's awareness repeating. The mystical layer, psychologically grounded. Now let's bridge this with the spiritual sensation people often describe. When the mind synchronizes like this, your state of awareness heightens. Your senses feel sharper. Time feels slower. Your internal state and external environment feel connected. People call this alignment, intuition, energy resonance, a synchronicity, a universal connection. Psychology calls it integrated awareness, a moment where the boundaries between conscious and subconscious thin out. This is why déjà vu feels so spiritual. Not because the universe is sending you a message, but because your mind is fully awake for a split second. You're experiencing your life with unusual clarity. You're aware of your awareness. And that rare state feels profound. So when déjà vu hits, it's not just a glitch. It's not your mind malfunctioning. It's your consciousness syncing up in a way it normally doesn't. It's your inner world recognizing your outer world in perfect alignment. A moment where your perception sharpens, your patterns reveal themselves, and your awareness briefly transcends its usual limits. Déjà vu is your mind saying, "I've been here before, not in time, but in understanding." So now that we've unpacked how déjà vu works beneath the surface, let's talk about what this actually means for your life. Because déjà vu isn't just a moment of weirdness, it's a moment that reveals something about how you move through the world, how your mind works, and how aware you are of the patterns shaping your decisions. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Déjà vu doesn't happen randomly. It appears during very specific emotional, psychological, and developmental states. Every déjà vu moment is like a quiet notification from your subconscious, one that says, "Pay attention. Something important is happening here." Not important in a mystical destiny kind of way, but important in the sense that your mind is recognizing a pattern with unusually high clarity. Let's break down what that means in your everyday life. 1. Déjà vu reveals when you're more aligned than usual. As strange as it sounds, déjà vu shows up more in periods when your inner world and outer world are syncing. Think about times you've experienced it. Traveling, starting a new job, meeting new people, entering or exiting a relationship, making a major shift, going through emotional growth, feeling more reflective or introspective. These are all transitions, moments when you're more awake, more observant, more engaged with your own life. During these times, your subconscious is scanning more details, pulling up more emotional patterns, and adjusting your perception faster than usual. When your mind becomes this active, the chances of conscious/subconscious alignment increase, and so does déjà vu. What does that mean practically? It means déjà vu is often a sign you're entering a chapter where you're more in tune with yourself. Your emotional radar is sharper. Your intuition is louder. Your awareness is elevated. It's not the universe sending a sign. It's you sending a sign to yourself. 2. Déjà vu helps you recognize your emotional patterns. Every déjà vu moment is built from pattern recognition. Not just visual patterns, emotional ones. You might feel déjà vu in a conversation because the dynamic resembles something from your past. You might feel it with someone because their presence mirrors people who shaped you. You might feel it in a new environment because the emotional tone overlaps with a period from your life. This means déjà vu can reveal important things about you. What you're drawn to. What you're avoiding. What feels safe. What feels familiar. What still impacts you. What you tend to repeat. What you need to heal. For example, if you often feel déjà vu around people you barely know, your subconscious might be picking up relational patterns from your childhood: trust, conflict, comfort, tension, fear, belonging. If you feel déjà vu during certain conversations, your mind may be recognizing themes you've lived before: arguments, expectations, emotional cycles. If you feel it in new environments, your brain may be linking spatial memories with emotional states: hope, uncertainty, ambition, anxiety. Real talk. Your déjà vu moments are often mirrors. They reflect the emotional patterns shaping your life even when you're not consciously aware of them. 3. Déjà vu shows when your intuition is active. We tend to imagine intuition as some mystical, floating force that whispers magical truths. But intuition is really just your subconscious working faster than your conscious mind. And déjà vu is one of the few times you feel that speed difference. It's a moment where your intuition processed something before you knew you processed it. So practically, déjà vu can signal moments when your intuition is more online, such as when you're about to make an important decision, when you're emotionally centered, when something deeply resonates with you, when your values are being activated, when your internal compass is pointing somewhere. It doesn't mean this exact moment is destiny. But it does mean you're in a moment where your deeper mind is paying attention. This has real implications for choices you're about to make. Sometimes déjà vu shows up right before you decide something big. Not because it's predicting the future, but because your subconscious has already processed the emotional significance of what's happening. 4. Déjà vu can expose repeated life patterns. Look, humans are creatures of repetition. We repeat emotions, relationship dynamics, self-beliefs, behaviors, reactions, and internal narratives far more often than we repeat events. So déjà vu can be a clue that you're stuck in a pattern you haven't fully acknowledged. For example, you keep choosing the same type of partner. Your subconscious recognizes the emotional pattern before your conscious mind does. You keep falling into the same type of conflict. The tone, the timing, the emotional energy, it all feels strangely familiar. You keep recreating the same life situations. Different people, different environment, same emotional story. In these cases, déjà vu isn't mystical, it's psychological repetition. Your mind is saying, we've lived the pattern of this before. This is incredibly useful information, because once you recognize a pattern, you can break it. 5. Déjà vu reveals when you're growing faster than usual. Déjà vu spikes during periods of emotional awakening, moments when you're becoming more self-aware. For example, someone who never reflects on their decisions rarely experiences déjà vu. Someone who is introspective, healing, evolving, noticing patterns, often experiences it more. Why? Because personal growth increases awareness. Awareness increases subconscious activity. Subconscious activity increases pattern recognition. And pattern recognition increases déjà vu. So déjà vu can actually be a sign that you're leveling up internally. It means your mind is processing life more deeply than before. It means you're becoming more conscious of yourself. It means you're moving through the world with a higher level of perception. In other words, déjà vu often appears during life chapters when you're stepping into a better version of yourself. 6. Déjà vu helps you understand what matters to you. Here's a big one. You don't feel déjà vu in boring moments. You don't experience déjà vu paying a bill, brushing your teeth, or scrolling TikTok. Déjà vu happens in moments with emotional weight. Even if nothing dramatic is happening on the surface, something internally meaningful is happening underneath. Examples: a conversation that reveals something new about yourself. A place that triggers a sense of possibility. A connection that feels important. A decision point your subconscious recognizes. Or a moment that feels like part of your personal narrative. Your mind isn't reacting to the environment. It's reacting to the emotional potential of the moment. This is why déjà vu feels like a checkpoint in your story. Your mind detects a pattern that aligns with your deeper identity. 7. Déjà vu can make you more present. One of the most underrated effects of déjà vu is how it forces you into the present moment. It snaps you out of autopilot. For a few seconds, everything slows down. Your senses sharpen. Your awareness expands. You feel grounded in the exact second you're living. In a world where most people spend their day half distracted, half checked out, déjà vu is a moment of involuntary mindfulness. It forces you to inhabit your own life fully. And for many people, that brief clarity is a reminder that they're moving too fast, or not paying enough attention. 8. Déjà vu highlights where you're unfinished. Sometimes déjà vu shows up not because something is familiar, but because something is unresolved. Your subconscious recognizes emotional threads you haven't tied off. Unfinished conversations. Unprocessed emotions. Internal conflicts. Decisions you've been avoiding. Patterns you've outgrown but still repeat. When you step into a moment that activates those threads, déjà vu can appear as a subtle internal nudge. Hey, this matters. Don't ignore it. It's your mind bringing old emotional patterns into the present so you can deal with them. Putting it all together. When you experience déjà vu, it's rarely meaningless. It's often a sign of one of the following. You're aligned. You're repeating a pattern. You're entering a new chapter. Your intuition is active. You're growing faster than usual. You're emotionally recognizing something. You're more conscious than usual. Something inside you needs attention. Something outside you matches your internal world. Your awareness is shifting into a higher state. Déjà vu is your mind's way of saying, look deeper. It's not evidence of past lives or parallel timelines, though it may feel that way. It's evidence that your mind, your emotions, and your awareness are operating at a deeper level than you think. Déjà vu is the moment where your inner world recognizes your outer world in perfect clarity. Okay, so now that you understand what déjà vu really is, your mind aligning, syncing, or revealing deeper patterns, the real question becomes, what do you actually do with that knowledge? Because déjà vu isn't just something that happens. It's something you can use, not to predict the future, but to understand yourself more accurately than ever. Here are 4 practical ways to apply everything you've learned so far. 1. Start noticing what your mind is trying to highlight. The next time you get that déjà vu jolt, don't brush it off. Pause for 2 seconds. Literally 2. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What was I thinking before this moment hit? What feels familiar about this dynamic? Here's why this matters. Déjà vu often appears in moments connected to your emotional patterns, not the physical environment. Maybe the room feels familiar, but the real recognition is coming from the situation. You're about to repeat a habit. You're entering a familiar emotional loop. You're confronting a choice that mirrors an old one. You're stepping into an alignment moment where your subconscious and conscious finally match. Instead of treating déjà vu like a glitch, treat it like a highlighter. It's your mind saying, "Pay attention. Something meaningful is happening right now." And when you start listening to that signal, patterns you've missed for years suddenly become obvious. 2. Use déjà vu as a pattern interrupt. Most people only think of déjà vu as a memory glitch. But in reality, it's one of the brain's most powerful wake-up cues. Remember, déjà vu happens when the subconscious recognizes a pattern before the conscious mind catches up. So here's a powerful shift. Whenever déjà vu hits, instead of freezing or brushing it off, tell yourself, "Okay, I'm awake. I'm conscious. I'm choosing, not repeating." This breaks the loop. Because the danger with subconscious patterns is that they run automatically. Déjà vu is your chance to break the autopilot. Think of it like your mind tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, you've lived this energy before. Want to do it differently this time?" That micro-interruption alone can change the entire trajectory of your next decision. 3. Track your déjà vu moments to discover hidden themes. This one sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Start a small note section in your phone. Call it Déjà vu log. Whenever it happens, jot down date, place, emotion you felt, what the situation was, any person involved. After just a few entries, themes start to emerge. People usually find one of 3 revelations. A. Their déjà vu always appears in moments of internal alignment, like when they're about to make a choice that matches who they're becoming. B. It shows up around emotional cycles, similar relationship patterns, familiar arguments, recurring dynamics. C. It appears around major transitions or growth periods, times when the subconscious is reorganizing memories, associations, and meaning. This log becomes a map, a literal blueprint of your internal patterns. You stop seeing déjà vu as coincidence and start seeing it as data. 4. Train your mind to stay present when familiarity hits. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Déjà vu collapses the past and present into the same second. If you stay conscious in that moment, powerful things happen. Because in those 2 or 3 seconds, you're not fully in the past. But you're also not fully in your habitual future. You're in this unique, lucid pocket where you can actually rewrite the way your mind creates meaning. So here's the practice. When déjà vu hits, slow everything down. Not physically, mentally. Notice the air, the tone of someone's voice, the emotion rising in your body, the thought trying to form, the impulse you feel next. This level of presence does 3 things. 1. It cuts through autopilot. You stop repeating old emotional scripts. 2. It makes the moment new again. Breaking the familiarity dissolves the loop. 3. It helps you recognize what your mind was trying to surface. Because the content of the déjà vu, what it's tied to, becomes clear. Some viewers describe this as almost like zooming out of their life for a second. Others say it makes them feel fully awake for the first time in months. But the key is, staying conscious during déjà vu helps you reshape your internal patterns in real time. What you'll start noticing when you apply this. Within a few weeks of practicing these 4 shifts, most people report fewer emotional loops, more clarity during decisions, a stronger sense of intuition, earlier recognition of repeating patterns, less confusion and more inner alignment. A deeper awareness of why certain moments trigger déjà vu. And get this, moments that once felt spooky or random now feel meaningful. Not because the universe is sending you signs, but because your own mind is sending you insight. You're finally listening to the internal signals that were always there. Signals your subconscious has been trying to show you for years. So let's bring this full circle. That strange moment when time feels doubled. When the present flickers with the energy of something you can't quite place. When you swear you've lived a second that technically shouldn't exist. It's not random. It's not a glitch. And it's definitely not just your imagination. It's your mind speaking in its most subtle language. Déjà vu is what happens when your subconscious sees the pattern before you do. When your emotional history, your stored memories, and your inner alignment all converge for a split second. It's your mental and emotional operating system saying, "Pay attention. You've been here, maybe not physically, but psychologically." In this video, you learned how déjà vu actually works. How the brain recognizes patterns faster than conscious awareness. How emotions write signatures your mind can detect long before you notice them. And how these moments don't predict your future, but they absolutely reveal your inner world. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop treating déjà vu like a weird glitch, and start treating it like a guide, a signal, a checkpoint in your personal evolution. When you pause, reflect, and stay conscious in those moments, you get something incredibly rare in daily life. A moment of clarity. A moment of awareness. A moment that says, you're not on autopilot anymore. So here's your takeaway. Déjà vu isn't about repeating a moment. It's about finally seeing the pattern behind it. And if that realization hit home for you, if you felt a shift, a spark, or even a memory come alive while listening, drop a comment and share the last time you felt déjà vu. Your story might help someone else understand theirs. And if you want more deep, grounded explorations like this, subscribe to Echoes Between Worlds. We go places the mind usually keeps hidden.